Hi guys, bonjour, hola, my name is Trish. In this tutorial, I want to show you how to create a Christmas party for your church.
Scholars don't rest when the nighttime comes.
If you're new on this channel, welcome. We are so glad to have you here. On this channel, I teach the basics of Photoshop, intermediate and advanced as well. So if this is something that you like, hit the subscribe button. So without further ado, let's jump right into this tutorial. So the first thing we're going to do is to set up our canvas size. So I'm going to go to File and click on New. Then you want to come to the preset detail. You want to make sure your dimension is in inches and width is 6.5, height is 9.5. Now we want to keep the resolution at 300 and we are going to click on Create. So the first thing we're going to do is to get our background ready. So I'm going to click on my adjustment and I'm going to bring up the solid color adjustment. And I am going to choose something like a bluish, a deep blue, like so. And I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to go to my working folder and I'm going to pull this file in and I'm going to rotate. So if you click on your move tool, you realize that my auto select and my my show transform controls are already checked. And that's what you want, so that once you click on your image, it activates the command for you to rotate. So I'm going to turn my canvas, holding down my shift. Now, depending on the version of Photoshop you have, you might not need to hold down your shift while rotating. So just take a note of that. So I'm going to move this and set it in the corner and hold the other end and scale it, holding down my shift. And I'm going to double click to accept it. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to move this image below my background. So in your layers panel, just drag that layer beneath like so. Now I'm going to click on the blue background and I'm going to decrease the opacity so we can still see the paper textured image in the background. So with this set for us, we want to add a gradient effect around our background. So I'm going to go back to my adjustment, choose gradient. Now we are using a black gradient on the outside. So if you look at my gradient, you realize I have from a solid to a transparent, and that is what you want. Now, if your default is not set to this, you want to click on your gradients, go to your basics. Now, under basics, there are three options: solid to solid or solid to transparent. That is what you want. So you want to click on the middle one and click OK. Now, if your color is also different, once you click on your gradient, you want to click on whatever color options you have here. Click on the stop once to pull up your image, your color. Now click on that color to choose the correct color. So I'm going to click OK since I have mine set to the default. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to change the style to radial, and you want to click on reverse so that it puts the gradient color on the peripheral. Now we want to scale it just a little. So I'm going to do something like this and I'm going to click OK. This is good enough. We want to go ahead and add a few more elements before we add the theme. So I'm going to go back to my folder and I want to drag in this element. Now it came in with a background, so the easiest way is to pick your quick select tool, click on select subject. Now Photoshop does a very good job. I'm going to zoom in and I really don't want the ring, so I'm going to pick my lasso tool, and you want to make sure that you choose this icon, which is subtract from selection, and you want to draw a line to cut off the area that you don't want to include, like so. I'm going to zoom out so you can see the full selection. Now I'm going to click on my layer mask to hide the rest. So I'm going to zoom in, or with my magnifying glass set to fit screen, I'm going to pick my move tool and I'm going to scale this down like so. And I'm going to just rotate. So I'm going to go back to my selection, my folder, and we are going to pull this also in. Now with this, we can use both. So I'm going to go back to my quick select tool and I'm going to make a selection. So we have a fairly good selection. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my layer mask to select those. I'm going to zoom in on these two and I want to cut the inside. So with my lasso tool, I'm just going to cut the inside. You don't have to, but I just want to do that. And you can use your brush with your layer mask selected, your foreground as black. You can cut it out or use your eraser to just erase it, since we don't need it. And it's not like we want it back. And I'm going to zoom in on this as well. And I'm going to do the same thing with my lasso tool. We're just going to cut. We're not going to hide with our layer mask because we don't need that. And with my eraser, I'm just going to erase, Command D to deselect. Now we have these two. I'm going to now click on my move tool and we are going to scale this down and I'm going to set it somewhere here. Now, if you don't want a lot of ornaments, you can take off some of the ornaments, but I'm just choosing to keep these two. In the initial design, I only had one ornament, but this is okay. So I'm going to zoom out and we are going to bring in two more. I'm going to go back here and we're going to bring in this one. I'm going to drop it. With my quick select tool, we are going to do this and we have it all cut. Now with my layer mask, I have it all set and I'm just going to go ahead and scale it. Now I want to add the last one. So I'm going to pull this in. And with my quick select tool, we're going to make a selection. I'm going to zoom in this time and I want to include this little piece. So I'm going to click on my lasso tool with my add to selection, which is the middle one or the second one. You want to trace around the area that you want to include. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be so tiny. Nobody's going to notice. Yeah, nobody. Okay. All right. So now that we have it all set, you want to click on your layer mask, get rid of everything else. Now I know it's not perfect because we have some imperfections right here, but we don't have to fix that because, like, as I said, it's going to be so tiny, you will not be able to pick up on those details. Now we want to bring in some ribbons to add some pizzazz. Folder, and I'm going to drag this image in, and it came in without a background, so it makes it easier. So we're going to go ahead and scale it down like so, and I'm going to set it somewhere here, and I'm going to make a duplicate. Command J, make a duplicate, and I'm going to put the other one somewhere here, like it's floating, and we can scale it down if we want. So the next thing I'm going to do is go back to my folder and we want to drop this image in. Pick your quick select tool, select subject, and we want to add a layer mask to get rid of the background. We don't have to worry about this area because we are just going to use a piece of this ribbon like so, and we're going to scale it down, rotate a little, and push it somewhere in the corner like that. And then we're going to make a duplicate of the same layer, Command J, and I'm going to move that and set that somewhere here. So we have this effect. So this is what we have so far now. So with our image set for us, you can either keep the ribbon like this or get rid of whichever one you don't want. I like things to be very minimal. So I'm gonna pick my lasso tool and I wanna just cut off a piece of this so we don't have too many things in our design. But then again, it's up to you and what you want to do. So I'm going to use my eraser and I'm going to click and just delete this area. Command D to deselect. So we have something very small and minimal. Okay, so I'm gonna set to scale. Now, the other thing we wanna do is go back to our folder and we wanna drag this in. And just like we did with the rest, we're gonna take off the background. So click on your quick select tool, select subject, and you notice that in the middle, the ribbon in the middle is not selected. So you wanna make sure you have your add to selection activated, and we are just going to select this area, add it to it, and we are going to click on our layer mask to get rid of the background. Now we're going to move this and set this somewhere here. Of course, we're going to scale it down like that. We're going to take it a step further and set it like so. And if you want to bump up the color so it matches with the rest of the gold, all you need to do is click on your image, go to image adjustment and choose hue and saturation. Now we want to bump up the color. So you want to click on your hue, which will pull up all the color in the gold. And we are going to click OK. So now everything sort of matches. Now the next thing we want to do is that we have a background which we want to bring in. But before we do that, we want to put in our theme and the rest of the info. So I'm going to choose a font Dieudonné URWD, and I'm going to type in the letter C, and I'm going to scale it up a little like that. And I'm going to make a duplicate. Command J, make a duplicate, and I'm going to type in H, and I'm going to set it right there for now. And I'm going to make a duplicate of both. Command J, set that below, and you know the deal. I'm just going to type in Christmas. So I'm just going to spell it out. And I'm going to select all four. Command J, make a duplicate and pull that down. Now, if you want to make a duplicate or you want to make a selection, you want to hold down Shift while you select all the elements that you want to duplicate. So that's what I did. I'm going to go ahead and highlight, change each font to spell Christmas. I know you're excited because it's almost Christmas. Yeah. So Command J, make it last duplicate, and we're going to change this to S. So if you want to select all, go into your layers panel, select the C, go all the way up, hold down Shift, select the top, it selects everything. Now we are going to go ahead and scale this and set it somewhere in the middle, like so. So we have something like this. Now, if we want it to be a little bit closer, we can do that. You can just move things around so you have it all set like this. Now, you don't have to use this font if you prefer something else. So I'm going to go to my folder, and I have this gold metallic image that we are going to use to infuse over our text. So I'm going to turn it off for now. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and group all of my font. So I'm selecting the top, and I'm going to hold down my Shift, select the rest, and group it, clicking on my group folder. Now I'm going to turn back on my image, and I'm going to clip it to my text, my layer below. Now, when I clip it, the image will only affect the layer right beneath. I'm going to hold down Options and clip in between the line in between my image and my grouped layer. The texture is too big. You can click on your image and you can just scale it down like so. And you can see that as I scale it down, you get the same effect, but it's not too much and it looks so good. So I have this shimmery effect on my text and I love it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sort of scale this down a little. So this looks good. I love it already. We want to go ahead and add the next text, which is Christmas party. So I'm going to click on my type tool and I am going to select a new font, which is called Challenge. And I'm going to type in party. And I want only my first alphabet to be in uppercase. So I'm going to click on my text, go under property, and you want to uncheck the double T. So only the first one is in caps. I'm going to scale this and I'm going to set this somewhere here, like so, right beneath my S. So we have something like this, Christmas party. Oh, I'm excited. I can't wait. And I know you certainly can't wait for Christmas or your Christmas party. All right, so leave a comment below actually and let me know if you're having a Christmas party. Why shouldn't you? We want to go ahead and do something to our font. We want to add a little bit of a shadow. Guys, I want to show you a little trick. We want to go ahead and add a shadow effect to our font. And this technique of grouping all your font as one element allows you to be able to add your shadow without affecting your font itself. So it's a non-destructive way of adding a shadow to a group of text so that in case you want to change your font, in case you want to change the theme, you still have the liberty of doing that without having to start from scratch. So we're going to double click on our group. The layer style comes up. We want to add a drop shadow. Yes, we're not going to do this. So we want to click on our drop shadow and we want to decrease our size, which reduces the bled spread of our shadow. We want to decrease our distance as well so we don't get too much of a shadow effect. Now I am going to move my angle so that we get our shadow from the side, and I want to change the color to black. That's what we want, and I'm gonna click OK. And we want to increase our shadow just a little so we have something like this. I'm gonna click OK. Now the other thing is that if I want my image to be a little bit lighter, you want to click on your image, which is infused to your text. Go to Image, Adjustment, choose Brightness. You got it. Yes, you follow it. And we are going to increase our brightness so that our image pops a little. Now, if it's too much, you can just take it back like so. And I'm gonna click OK. Guys, we are halfway done. So with this all set for us, you can even move your party if you want, but I want to keep it below like that. And the next thing that we are going to do is that we want to bring in a sparkle effect. Yes, it's Christmas. We have to have that. So I'm going to go back to my folder and you see this file, we're going to drop it in and we are going to move it up. Now, the problem is it came in with the black background. So a little quiz for you. How do you take off the black background? You got it right. You click on your image and you want to change the blend mode to screen. Now that takes off the background. Clap for yourself. You did good. Now we want to go ahead and take off the little text in the background. So you want to click on your eraser and you want to just make sure that you click on the image, which will ask you if you want to turn the image into a smart object. Click OK, and you want to make sure that your eraser head is showing. Then you can go ahead and just delete. We're not going to create a layer mask because we don't want to have this at all. Now if you can't see your eraser head, make sure your cap locks is off. So with this set for us, we want to go ahead. You can scale this a little if you want to increase the size of your spackle and so on and so forth. So with this all set, we are halfway done. We want to go ahead and add the rest of the info, which is the title and the date and time, location of this event. So I'm going to click on my text tool and I'm going to choose a very simple font, which is the Avena Next. And we are just going to click anywhere. Make sure that we reduce our font to maybe 30 for now. And we're going to type in the name of the church. So just type in yours. And I'm going to move it and set it right there. I'm going to highlight, go to my property and click on the double T to turn it all to cups. Now I'm going to go ahead and scale it like so. And I'm going to set it right there. And guys, try and center your elements in your flyer. It helps with, good composition and so on and so forth. Okay, so now the other thing is if I zoom in, we really can see the name well. So what we are going to do is add a layer mask to this image. And we're going to pick our brush tool. We know black height. So you want to make sure your foreground is black. Pick up your brush and pick up any brush that you want. I'm using a very spread out brush so I can gently sort of erase a few areas of my sparkle gold effect on the text so that it reads better, but at the same time, I don't take away too much from the background. So you see that if I zoom out now, yes, you can see it. Now you can double click. If you want to make it even bold, you can do that. I can take it up a step further. But if you want to make it even more bolder, you can. It's your design. So I'm going to pick up my text tool and I'm going to change the font again to Bebuzz. Bebuzz is my favorite font. And I'm going to type in attire. And we are going to say a touch of red. Yep. And I'm going to highlight and we are going to left adjust. And I'm going to go to my property and I want to decrease the spacing like so. I want to highlight the attire and reduce the style to book. So it's a little bit more thinner and the focus is on the attach with the red. And I'm going to reduce it a little, set that in the middle. Now we want to add a splash of red. So I'm going to create a little background, picking my rectangular marquee tool. I'm going to make a little box around or rectangle around it. And I'm going to click on new, create a new layer, click on my foreground, and I want to match the color in the ribbon, or I'm going to go for a little bit more deeper red like so. And I'm going to pick my bucket and I'm going to fill that in. Command D to deselect, and it looks good, guys. So we want to go ahead. I'm going to zoom in to the bottom. I'm going to scroll this way so we can see everything. Now we want to add the date. So I'm going to click on my font, and again, we want to choose the Agagi Pro, and I'm going to type in 18. I'm going to highlight, change that to white, flip in my foreground and background. We're going to set that somewhere here. I'm going to pick my marquee tool, and I'm going to draw a rectangle like so, right beneath, right on the side. And then I'm going to create a new layer, fill that in with white, picking my paint bucket. I'm going to fill that in, Command D to deselect. And I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to reduce it just a little, holding down my shift, make it very thin, and I'm going to scale it down to match the height of the red background. And I'm going to zoom in, double click to accept. I'm going to move it here, and Command J, make a copy, and I'm going to move that over here to create like a bar between the two. Now we want to go ahead and finish off our date. So I'm going to pick my type tool, and we are going to choose the all-round Gothic, and I'm going to type in December, and I am going to scale it down a little. I'm going to move this up, move that down, so we have something like this. Now we want to go ahead and add the time. So pick your type tool. Now we want to go back to the B-Bus, and I'm going to type in 7. And I'm sorry guys, my neighbor is mowing their lawn, so that is why you hear that noise. But we are going to go on with this tutorial. All right, so with all of this set, the only thing we need to add now is the address on the bottom. So I'm going to pick my type tool, and we are going to go back to the all-round Gothic. So I'm going to click anywhere, and we are going to make up another address. I love making up these addresses. It's fun. And guys, this looks really good. I know you love it too. So with all of this said, we want to do just one more thing to bring everything to life. Okay, so we are going to go up to the top, click on your top layer, and we are going to add a color lookup. You are so right. Now, color lookup is my favorite way to touch up my images now. I used to love the Camera Raw filter, but this does an amazing job. So I'm going to go to my properties, making sure that the color lookup layer is selected, and you want to change this to crisp warm look. Now guys, you ready? Sit down for this. I'm about to click. Do you see? It looks amazing. Now, if it's too much for you, all you need to do is go to your opacity, and you can reduce it a little so that even though you get the effect is not too much, but at the same time, your image pops. Now, if you want the background area, the gradient to pop a little more, you can go back to your gradient, double click, and we can increase the scale so that we get a little bit more of the blue in the middle. And I'm going to click OK. Now, even if the blue is too dark, you can play with it to see what you can get. So we get something like this. Click OK. Now everything is looking amazing. Please don't forget, like, comment, subscribe if you're new, And please share with your friends. It's almost Christmas, and I bet there are a lot of people who are looking for samples of how to create their own Christmas party flyers. So why not share what you know with your friends? Okay. So till next time, please be safe, and I will see you back on Monday. Bye.